An NHL hockey goalie says the goal was because of the nachos. Japan launches drinkable mayonnaise if you want to drink your mayonnaise. And a cat makes it 3 flights in 24 hours after being left on a plane. These are the weird stories for Thursday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast. Got 3 weird news stories from around the world. Let's do it. Got it? Weird news coming at you. Here it is. Weird news. An NHL hockey goalie blames nachos on an important goal. NHL goalies already have enough to deal with. It's a tough gig. Flying bodies, razor-sharp skates, pucks traveling at more than 100 miles per hour at your face. They got enough on their plate without delicious Tex-Mex snacks entering the fray. But that's what Washington Capitals goalie Logan Thompson had to deal with on Tuesday night this week. He says it led to him conceding a goal. He's blaming it on the nachos. That goal was nacho fault, buddy. Let's dive into this sports-related story. I don't do a lot of sports-related stories on Weird AF News, despite me being a giant sports fan. There's just not a lot of weird stuff coming out of the world of sports. But, blaming a hockey goal on some nachos is pretty weird and funny. This was in the third period of the game on Tuesday night. The Capitals, the Washington Capitals, were leading 3-1 in their road game against the Edmonton Oilers when these nachos, apparently thrown onto the ice by a fan, entered the game. The nachos entered the game unannounced. They were thrown onto the ice by a fan. Fans throw things on the ice all the time. I don't understand it. They throw hats on the ice when someone gets a hat trick. 3 goals is a hat trick. I don't know why they call it that. And then fans throw hats on the ice. Imagine throwing your nice $50 hat right onto the ice. Why would you do that? Seems like a strange move. If you're going to do it, you bring like a crappy hat in your pocket. Throw that on the ice. Bring I've never seen it. It's mostly baseball caps that are thrown on the ice. I've never seen like an old school hat, like an old bowler hat or a derby or a scally cap. Maybe like some sort of Viking helmet would be cool to throw that on the ice during a hat trick. I've seen fans throw octopus on the ice. What is that all about? Can someone please explain that to me? Why would you throw a huge octopus onto the ice? They throw everything onto the ice at these hockey games. It's really disgusting. Okay, I Googled this because I'm genuinely curious. Fans throw octopuses. Is it octopuses? I thought it was octopi. Fans throw octopuses onto the ice at Detroit Red Wings hockey games as a symbol of good luck and to celebrate the team's playoff success. The tradition began in 1952 and is known as the Legend of the Octopus. The reason being octopus have 8 arms, which symbolize the number of playoff wins the Red Wings needed to win the Stanley Cup in 1952. What idiot came up with this? Well, we need 8 wins. What do you think would motivate the team to win 8 games? I don't know. Maybe if I just throw an octopus onto the ice, the team will see it, and then they'll win the 8 games. I think it would be very motivational to see a dead octopus thrown onto the ice. They won't be disgusted by any means. And the crowd will love it, because the crowd is sick in the head. Did anyone ever even stop to think that this is a waste of a perfectly good octopus? They're not cheap either. This is horrible. Imagine smuggling an octopus into an arena, planning on throwing it onto the ice. You bring an octopus stuffed down your vest or your pants or your fanny pack. I mean, there's dedication, and then there's psychotic, pathological fandom, like throwing a dead octopus onto the ice and you bringing it to the game down your pants. Sick. All right, I digest. Back to the nachos, okay? In the third period, the Capitals were leading 3-1 in their road game against the Edmonton Oilers when the nachos entered the game. I think I said that already, but it's funny. The nachos entered the game. Soon afterwards, Oilers winger Corey Perry negotiated the nachos and scored past the goalie Logan Thompson. I like how they say he negotiated the nachos. I guess they mean he skated around the nachos. I guess that's one way to describe it. He negotiated the nachos. He should have hit the nachos, too. Just slam the nachos at the goalie. That'd be hilarious. Thompson immediately pointed at the nachos. So the goalie pointed at the nachos after the goal went in and protested to the officials. Here's a quote from Thompson. I've never seen that before. Obviously, I've got to play to the whistle. That one's on me. He admitted his mistake then, but he did also admit that he was very distracted by the nachos entering the game. You don't expect to see nachos on the ice. Now, the guy who scored the goal, Perry, said he didn't even notice the nachos. He said, quote, I didn't even see him. I was focused on the play. Maybe that goalie ought to be focused on the play instead of the nachos. You know, maybe the goal wouldn't have happened if he just focused on the play instead of those nachos. Maybe he should have had a little snack before the start of the period. You know, that way he wouldn't have been distracted by delicious nachos and cheese on the ice. What about that? Now, the Capitals coach, Spencer, insisted that Thompson, the goalie, had a great game, but said the nachos did cause some debate. Here's a quote from the coach. Yeah, you know, I didn't even notice them, eh? And then guys were yelling, there's nachos on the ice. There's nachos on the ice over there. Nachos, see them? And I was like, I don't know. There's nachos on the ice. Can we challenge that? Can you challenge nachos on the ice? Now, it turns out, according to the rules of NHL hockey, this goalie, Thompson, might have a case. According to Rule 63.5, it states that in the event that objects are thrown onto the ice that interfere with the progress of a game, the referee shall blow the whistle and stop the play, and the puck shall be faced off at a face-off spot in the zone nearest to the spot where play is stopped at that moment. Well, it sounds like to me that this hockey team has a case. They could dispute the outcome of this game because of nachos thrown onto the ice. That's very distracting to have Tex-Mex tossed onto the ice in a city not really known for Tex-Mex. The article says Thompson, the goalie, who made several non-nacho saves in the Capitals' win. He made several non-nacho saves. He's got to work on his nacho saves, though. He's very good at non-nacho saves. We'll see how he does with the can of refried beans. Those are very slippery, by the way. I would think the goalie's okay with refried beans on the ice. Now, the people skating around might not be. How does he do with taquitos on the ice? I'd love to know that. It says the Capitals won, though, so they don't have to, at the end of the day, file any grievances. They credited the fan with an assist for the Oilers' second goal. That's very funny. Here's a quote from Thompson, the goalie. I saw the guy that threw the nachos. Wasn't too happy, but credit to him. He got them a goal. Well, the goalie's got a good sense of humor about it, too, and whoever wrote this article is very funny. It doesn't say here whether they're going to attempt to identify the fan and penalize them, maybe give them the fan a suspension from the arena for a season or two. You can't really be throwing nachos onto a live sporting event courtyard, in my opinion. That's just horrible. Those players could slip on it. Imagine people throwing nachos in the middle of a basketball game. Player twists an ankle. I don't see it as being acceptable fan behavior. I don't know why you would do that. Also, nachos are very expensive at sporting events. Nachos at Dodger Stadium are like $16. And all it is some chips and just cheap cheese, really cheap-ass cheese, jalapenos from a can. Bro, they're not even fresh jalapenos. They're the dark, dark green ones that are from a can. I mean, they're expensive nachos. Why would you? Everything's expensive at a sporting event. Anyways, I'm rambling here. I'm going to let you go. Japan launches drinkable mayonnaise for fans that just can't get enough of mayonnaise and want to drink it. This is disgusting. Drink your mayonnaise. Who would drink mayonnaise? I mean, technically, all mayonnaise is drinkable if you believe in yourself and are gross. Okay. Soy sauce might be the first thing that springs to mind when considering which condiment to pair with sushi, but for many in Japan, their cucumber maki is not complete without a squirt of mayonnaise. All right, yeah, mayonnaise with your sushi, sure. I've seen it before. Spicy mayonnaise specifically. Now, although not indigenous to the country of Japan, mayonnaise is so ubiquitous it can be found on anything from pizza to traditional foods such as okonomiyaki, a Japanese street food. I absolutely love okonomiyaki. There are pop-up mayonnaise-themed cafes in Japan, also a museum dedicated to the nation's favorite brand of mayonnaise, Kewpie. Now, I'm going to have to confess at this moment, I do have a bottle of Kewpie mayonnaise in my refrigerator. I got it at the Asian market, and that's just because for some reason, the Japanese mayonnaise tastes better than the American mayonnaise. Yeah, once I tried it, I never went back. Now, it doesn't taste good enough to drink. I'm just saying, replace your mayonnaise on your sandwiches, your BLTs with the Kewpie. I really like it. It's got a better flavor. It's a little sweeter. It somehow seems healthier, although at the end of the day, it's mayonnaise, so probably not. But I get the vibe that it's healthier than traditional American mayonnaise. My guess is they're not using all the oil that we use in the mayonnaise here. Okay, back to the story here. In Japan, there's even a word in Japanese, mayora, which means a person who is addicted to mayonnaise. Wow, so people can get addicted to the mayonnaise? I wonder if they have, like, mayonnaise anonymous groups. Hi, my name's Gucci, and I'm addicted to mayonnaise, and I've been putting it on everything, things that it's not acceptable, like pizza. I put it on the pizza. I drink it. I've been drinking it. I've been snorting it. I rub it on my nipples. I'm crazy. I'm crazy about the mayonnaise. I got a problem. That was my impression of a Japanese man addicted to mayonnaise and does really unacceptable things with mayonnaise. I hope you enjoyed that. Back to the article. The convenience store chain Lawson has now taken the country's love of this condiment mayonnaise a step further by introducing a version its customers can now drink. It's drinkable mayonnaise. Hello, food police. I would love to report a crime against humanity. Drinkable mayonnaise. Although I do like Bloody Marys, which is kind of like drinkable spicy ketchup in a way. Don't you think? Anyways, this Nomu Mayo, or drinkable mayonnaise, has split opinions online over whether they've taken novelty drinks too far with the drinkable mayonnaise. Lawson describes its new culinary invention as, quote, a long-awaited new product for all mayonnaise lovers. However, reviews on social media seem to imply people may not have been waiting for this richness, sourness, mayonnaise reproduced chilled beverage. Someone wrote, drinkable mayo, incredibly awful. Avoid purchasing. No mayo lover will love this. Why did they sell this? That's not a very creative response here. Another person filmed taste testing the beverage said that he was angry at the product developers who made the unpalatable mayonnaise drink. He said the drink was not sweet and reminded him of the watery mayonnaise left in the bowl after a salad. That's gross. Now, technically speaking, on the lid of this drinkable mayonnaise, there's a warning to customers that says this is a mayonnaise-style drink, quote. This is not mayonnaise, it says as well. So it's kind of like when you have the grape drink. It's not real grapes. Or a Sunny Delight. It's not real oranges. Even Pringles aren't real potatoes. They're like, this is a potato-like substance. You figure it out. Oh, how are your kidneys feeling? That should give you an idea of what's in this thing. The company that released this drinkable mayonnaise also wants everyone to know this is just a test sale in progress. They're not committed to this. They want to see if this drink is going to take off. And if it does past the test period, they will then spread it across Japan's 56,000 Lawson stores to have people drinking their mayonnaise. Now they can eat their mayonnaise on their BLT and their fries, wash it down with some mayo drink, and then fall face flat with a heart attack right on the diner. Hey, if these Japanese people want to just drink their mayonnaise, I say have at it. Live your life. Let them drink the mayonnaise. They're not making babies over there, so you got to do something that's going to lower your life expectancy, right? Let me ask you, listeners, would you be into trying the drinkable mayonnaise? I would try it. I'm not going to down a whole bottle. Drinking mayonnaise sounds pretty weird. I did witness a drunk roommate of mine drink a bottle of ranch dressing out of the refrigerator on a dare. That was pretty wild. Just remember it's weird news, and it'll be all right. Beep.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, what the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass f- So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
A pet cat takes 3 flights in 24 hours after being left all alone on a plane. Ooh, guys, we got a cute story about kitties. I know how much you guys like stories about cats and dogs. Everybody does. Makes you feel all fuzzy inside. A cat apparently made 3 flights between New Zealand and Australia in just 24 hours this week after being forgotten on a plane. Who forgets their little kitty on a plane? Sounds like a very irresponsible pet owner. And although, they do tend to drink a lot on some of these flights, so maybe the owner just got too bombed, just forgot about the cat. I don't know how you do that, but I guess it's possible. Cat's name is Mittens. Oh, Mittens! An 8-year-old Maine Coon. These cats come from Maine? I never heard of this Maine Coon. When are they originated in Maine? If you're a cat, Maine is not a good place to be living, I'll tell you right now. It's not really a good place for anybody to be living, cat or non-cat. Mittens was booked to travel from Christchurch. That's a place, Christchurch. It's all one word. Guess that's in New Zealand, Christchurch. Over to Melbourne. But her cage was left in the Air New Zealand aircraft's cargo hold. Oh, poor Mittens had to ride in the cargo hold to begin with, and then was left in the cargo hold. My goodness, hopefully Mittens was on some good drugs, and it wasn't so bad of an experience. When you're tripping balls in the cargo holds, it might be exciting. It says here, after waiting for 3 hours for Mittens at the Melbourne airport, owner Margot was told by ground staff that the plane had already returned to New Zealand with her pet Mittens. Gasp! They interviewed Mittens about all of this. Mittens responded by saying, meow. That's the end of that. During that flight, the heating was turned on to keep the cat comfortable. Good to know. You want to keep the cat comfortable. Mittens, who had lost weight but was otherwise unharmed, was later flown again to Melbourne to reunite with her owner. How sweet. Mittens. Plot twist. Mittens purposely did this to rack up airline miles. Hey. Now they interviewed the owner of Mittens, Margot, who's going to have to answer a lot of questions by Mittens at the end of this. I'd imagine the cat's going to be very snobbish for a week. Cats give you attitude, right? They know. If they feel like they've been slighted, they just go under the bed forever. Dogs aren't like that at all. That's why I like dogs. Dogs are just like unabashedly happy. You leave your dog, you make a mistake with your dog doesn't hold a grudge. Your dog's like, all right, bro, it's cool, just rub my head, we're good. It's got the memory of a goldfish, I think that's why. The article goes on to give a back-and-forth dialogue that occurred between Margot and the airport ground staff in Melbourne. I don't really need to get into that. You can imagine. It's like, where's my cat? They're like, we found your cat, we're going back to it. Oh, well, can you get it back? Okay, we get it back. Okay, how can this happen? Margot said she was told that the pilot had already been alerted to turn the heating on in the cargo hall where the temperature could be as low as 7 degrees Celsius. Well, that was nice that they at least accommodated the cat on the final flight over, but what about the initial flight? Did they just put the heating on because they felt bad for the cat? The incident is being investigated. Oh, goodness. Being investigated. But reports say a stowed wheelchair may have obscured a baggage handler's view of Mittens' cage. Blaming it on a baggage handler. This is a happy ending to this story as Margot is relieved to be finally reunited with Mittens. Here's a quote from Margot. She basically just ran into my arms and just snuggled up in here and just did the biggest cuddles of all time. The biggest cuddles. It was the biggest cuddles you've ever seen. Nobody cuddles as big as Mittens. Got the biggest cuddles. Other cats look at it and say, we could never cuddle like Mittens can cuddle. Margot, who had earlier decided to relocate to Australia, added that it was not a great start to our life. Well, she was totally moving her whole family to Australia. That's why Mittens was taken along. She said, we finally got Mittens and now we're a complete family. Yay, happy stories. But the cat came back the very next day. And what did we learn here, guys? We learned that you don't have to punch airline crew, right? If your trip isn't going as planned. You can be a rational, reasonable human being and not attack people that work at the airline. That's good to know, and it needs to be repeated. Weird news, blow you away. White lines, dang, dang, diggity, dang, da, dang. You guys know this one? Dang, dang, diggity, dang, da, dang. There's some wild lyrics in that White Lines song. Let me pull this up. This is going to be fun. Come on a fun journey with me right now. All right, listen to this. This is like verse 3 or 4. A million magic crystals, pretty pure and white. A multi-million dollars, almost overnight. Twice as sweet as sugar, twice as pure as salt. And if you get hooked, baby, it's nobody else's fault. So don't do it. So don't do it. So don't do it. That's my favorite part. So don't do it. Don't do the white lines, guys, is what the message of that song. That's the message of Weird AF News. Don't do those white lines. They'll blow you away. Freeze. Rock. All right. We're almost at 20 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up. Listen, this is what I have to say. Tomorrow's Florida Friday, so if you come across any Florida weird news, just send it my way. Here's my email, funnyjones@gmail.com. I have a lot already, but I could probably squeak one more in there. You can also DM me on Instagram @funnyjones. You can put the link to the Florida story in there. Please make it within the last week. If you could, I'd appreciate that. If you want to call the show, the number is 646-450-2012. And if you want to support the show by buying me coffee, keeping me caffeinated like I totally was during this, I'm still sipping on this. It's my second cappuccino of the day. It is delightful, by the way. Oat milk cappuccino. Oat milk cappuccino, really making me high. So don't do it. Anyways, go to weirdafnews.com. You can buy me coffee or join the Patreon. You can do it. So go do it and support the show. weirdafnews.com. Good luck with your life. Man.